morning and a very warm welcome. You're watching Janata Television and this is the English Bulletin with me, Sushant Akal. The top stories first. NCP leaders elect Madhav Kumar Nepal as party chairman. Central leaders decide to initiate disciplinary action against PM Oli. Security beefed up in the valley. Government wary of possible violence in the capital. Students affiliated to the ruling party hit the streets, demand withdrawal of government decision to dissolve the parliament. Pakistani women rights activist found dead in Toronto. Authorities suspect foul play. And Messi surpasses Pele's record, leads Barca to victory at Valladolid. And now the news in detail. Former Prime Minister Madhav Kumar Nepal has become the new chairman of Nepal Communist Party. A gathering of the central leaders of the party yesterday elected Nepal as the new chairman. The leaders present at the gathering unanimously elected Nepal as the new chairman. NCP leaders decided to elect the new chairman after initiating disciplinary action against Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli following his unilateral decision to dissolve the parliament. NCP has a provision to have two chairmen. Pushpa Kamal Dahal and Oli used to be the co-chairman of the party until Leader Nepal took the place of Oli. NCP leaders took action against PM Oli after he dissolved the parliament without discussing the issue with the party leaders. NCP leaders concluded that a Prime Minister's actions were against the constitution as well as party statute. The Dahal Nepal faction had been vocal against the unilateral decision taken by PM Oli. The dissident leaders had called the gathering yesterday to discuss the issue of House dissolution by Oli. Out of the total 447 central leaders, 315 were present during yesterday's meeting. Security has been placed in high alert in Kathmandu after ruling Nepal Communist Party broke down due to the latest development of events. Security personnel from Nepal Police and Armed Police Force (APF) have been deployed in the major streets of Kathmandu. Both police in uniform and civilian dress have been equally mobilized to control the situation from taking a chaotic mode. Security personnel in large groups were also deployed around the meeting areas of both NCP panels that took place yesterday. CPN Maoist party led by Biplav, notorious for breaking law and order, has also criticized the latest move to dissolve the parliament by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. Security agencies have tightened Valley's security, keeping in mind the involvement of Biplav-led cadres. Security in Kathmandu's Ratna Park area, Maitigar Mandala, New Baneshwar, Tinkune, Tripureshwar and Sundara has been kept in high alert. Students affiliated to the Nepal National Independent Students Union of the ruling NCP have taken to the streets to protest the dissolution of parliament. The student leaders associated with NCP faction led by chairman duo Pushpa Kamal Dahal and Madhav Kumar Nepal decided to hit the streets to protest against Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's unilateral decision. The students chanted slogans saying that the Prime Minister's decision was a constitutional coup. The protesting students, led by ANN FSU Deputy Coordinator Ranjit Tamang, have demanded the government to revoke the decision. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back after the break. We continue with other national news. Former Finance Minister Yuvraj Khatiora has been appointed as Nepal's ambassador to the United States of America. President Vidya Devi Bhandari appointed former Minister Yuvraj Khatiora as the ambassador to the United States yesterday. According to the President's office, President Bhandari appointed former Minister Khatiora as an ambassador as per Article 282 of the Constitution of Nepal on recommendation of Cabinet meeting of Nepal's government. The cabinet meeting held on October 1st this year had decided to appoint Khatiwara as an ambassador to the US and Lokdarshan Regmi as an ambassador to the UK. With election being called by the government on April 30th and 10th, after dissolving the House, the Election Commission has begun its preparation to hold the election in the same time period. The Election Commission has stated that the letter sent with the date of the election has reached the Commission's offices. After receiving the letter from the government, the Election Commission has issued a circular in all 77 districts to stop the voter update work in the districts from January 20th.
निर्वाचन आयोगलाई निर्वाचन घोषणा गरेको सन्दर्भको पत्र प्राप्त भएको छ। त्यो पत्र प्राप्त भएपछि निर्वाचन आयोगले हिजोका दिनदेखि अथवा यो पुसको 6 गतेदेखि 77 जिल्ला निर्वाचन कार्यालयबाट भइरहेको मतदाता नामावलीको सङ्कलन कार्य चाहिँ हिजोबाट रोकेर निर्वाचनको तयारीका कामहरूमा लागिसकेको अवस्था छ।
However, managing resources only for election purpose won't be enough for the government. Even though the date of the election has been made public, the issue of holding the election in 2 phases or in 1 phase is still under discussion. The Commission says that at least 120 days are needed for the election to be successfully conducted in an organized way.
निर्वाचन सम्पन्न गर्न लाग्ने सामान्यतया समय 120 दिनको अवधि आयोगलाई हुनुपर्छ र त्यो समय अवधि अहिले हामीलाई छ र तोकेको मितिमा निर्वाचन सम्पन्न गर्न आयोग सक्षम छ।
In the last election, apart from the local level election expenses, rupees 7.75 billion was spent on the House of Representatives and State Assembly elections. The Commission does not have clear figures on how much the upcoming election will cost. However, conducting the election will be financially crippling for the Commission in the present circumstances. The election under Oli's leadership will also be very difficult to conduct, primarily because the ruling party itself is divided in its opinion, and the CPN Maoist Dahal Nepal group, Nepali Congress and Jasapa are in favor of re-establishing the parliament. The government yesterday confirmed 722 new cases of coronavirus across the country. Following the latest round of tests, the total cases of coronavirus in the country has climbed to 255,236, while the number of active cases has dropped to 7,729 from the overnight tally of 7,976. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, altogether 245,709 infected persons have recovered from the disease in the country so far. The death toll from coronavirus has climbed to 1,798 across the country, with the confirmation of 3 new casualties yesterday. Nepal is currently among the top 40 countries that have been most affected by the pandemic. The USA tops the list with 18.76 million confirmed cases, followed by India with 10.09 million cases. Coronavirus has infected more than 78.33 million people across the world and claimed 1.72 million lives. And now the news from the economic front. Despite the decline in overall inflation, the first 4 months of current fiscal year saw a sharp rise in vegetable prices. While the overall prices rose by an average of 4%, the price of vegetables rose by about 21% according to government data. The overall inflation, which was 3.7% in the first 3 months of the current fiscal year, has reached 4.5% in the Nepali month of Kartik, according to Nepal Rashtra Bank. Although the overall inflation has increased compared to the same month last year, the market price has decreased compared to that of last year. During the review period last year, the inflation was 5.7%. In the first 4 months of the current fiscal year, food and beverage inflation stood at 5.3% and non-food and services group inflation stood at 2.75%. The price of vegetables has increased by 20.8% compared to the previous year. According to Nepal Rashtra Bank, the price of pulses and nuts has increased by 13.7% in July and November of this fiscal year as compared to the previous year. Similarly, the annual wholesale price increase in November stood at 9.41%. Inflation last year for the same time period had stood at 7.57%. Inflation in Kathmandu Valley was 3.39%. The valley was 4.69% in Tarai, 3.64% in hills and 4.32% in mountains during the review month. The annual point-wise salary and wage rate index has increased by 0.85% in the review period this year. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news.